You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. Disney.
Well, it is a nice night up here in Boston, and it's so good to see so many people coming in to the Six Screens tonight. My name is Rick Farron, and I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world, right up here in Boston. And friends, I know I say it every week, we do have a lot of apostates up here. And, you folks, you always say to me, Rick, I wish that I had apostates in my neck of the woods. Don't you worry. The Watchtower is hemorrhaging right now. There's going to be a lot of apostates showing up if you're in the Midwest, if you're in the Northwest, if you're in the South, if you're in the East, if you're in Hawaii, if you're in Alaska. There's going to be a lot of apostates showing up. So just hang in there. Don't get discouraged. You'll be having a lot of friends very, very shortly. Well, isn't it neat? Isn't it really neat to see so many people leaving the Watchtower? Do you see it? I mean, I'm not looking through rose-colored glasses here. This is a major movement out of the Jehovah's Witness religion. Friends, we are talking not hundreds, not thousands, not hundreds of thousands. We are talking millions that are on the verge of leaving this organization. Now, can I say that with full authority? Can I say that with full conviction? Yes, I can. I can say it with full conviction because look at all the PMOs. I know I bring this up a lot, but I got to talk about it. We have got monumental, massive amounts of people that no longer believe what's being said in the Watchtower, but they continue to go to the meeting in a perfunctory way. That is just, they're going through the motions. They really don't want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but they are, for the time being, acting like a Jehovah's Witness. They call them PMOs, physically in, mentally out, But the thing is, you can't have the millions of PMOs ready to exit. If this happens at once, my goodness, it's going to blow Kingdom Halls, Assembly Halls, it's going to blow Warwick apart. We have got monumental issues here with the Watchtower, and people are seeing it, and they're silently saying, that's it, I'm getting out. You guys must go on Reddit. You must listen to the YouTubers. I know you do. We have so many activists now, more than ever before. So this is what's coming across. I'm not the only guy. Even though I've been doing it for 20 years, people used to say, Rick, you're looking through rose-colored glasses. No, I'm not. Never have been. But right now, I can tell you, my glasses are not rose-colored. I can see as clear as possibly I can. Well, anyways, a couple of things I want to discuss. We got the duck. We got the duck. Let me show you the duck. All right, that's the rubber ducky. Now, that duck, that is our little gimmick here. I say gimmick. We have fun with it. We have our rubber duck game that we play. Now, during the course of our program tonight, we have people, as you know, call in by the telephone line, and we have a number of secret words. I have them in a sealed envelope here. We have secret words, and if someone says a secret word or alludes to something that we are going to have in the envelope concerning the Watchtower, you will win a point. Now, what it is, you save these points up, you can get various prizes. 2 points will get you some Watchtower collector magnets. They're destined to be collector items. They're individually numbered. You hold on to them in 5 or 6 years. Some of this stuff could sell on eBay for $100. But we also have books. I want to thank Jim Hill. Oh my goodness, what a man he is. His way of helping those leave the Watchtower is he gives me these books to give to you. Now, here's a book here of People for His Name. It talks about Russell. It talks about Rutherford. It talks about Noor. It talks about the officials of the Watchtower. I got this book to give you if you win the prize. If you win 5 points, you get a book. All right. How about this? Don Cameron. This is the book that got my wife out of the so-called truth. It probably got you out too. Don Cameron, Captors of a Concept. That is a wonderful book. And this one right here, friends, I have to tell you, this book right here, Millions Now Living Will Never Die. You've got to have this. If you are one of Jehovah's Witnesses that have left, you're an ex-witness, you got to have this in your library. This book is indicting. I got the books. You can win them. 5 points, you win them. And if you get 10 points, if you get 10 points, I have a woman that calls into the program. She might do it tonight. She can win $100 if you get 10 points. So save your points, but you're on the honor system. So if you hear this during the program, that's the duck. The duck comes down, you win a prize. But if no one wins the prize during the program, as you know, the end of the program will give us some clues. You can win the prizes there. All right, so that's that. I'm not going to go into it too much tonight, but I want to tell you about the convention. Now, I'm going to scroll it across the bottom for those that don't know about it. We are going to have an ex-Jehovah's Witness convention, the first of its kind ever in the history of the ex-Jehovah's Witness movement. And you're going to have an opportunity to come to a convention up here in Boston, Massachusetts. And it's going to be in August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 2025. So if you can make it, the tickets are free. Now, you come up here. This is a beautiful place, Boston area. You can vacation up here. Come with the kids. Come and spend time with us here at the Six Greens. And we'll have a good time. If you're going to vacation, we can all do some things together as well after the convention. But if you could make it, listen, if you've never been to Boston, you will love it up here. It's beautiful in the summer. It's a lot cooler than other parts of the nation. We have got history up here. We've got culture up here. We have a lot of things to do. We have Cape Cod for the ocean. We have the mountains of New Hampshire and Vermont. So, think about it. Think about spending a vacation up here in the Boston area next year. Well, actually, not next year. We mean next year, 2025, August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And we got a beautiful place booked at the Hilton Hotel Convention Center. So we'll be right there. So if you go to my website, www.sixscreensofthewatchtower.com, you'll be able to see all of the information on the convention. See if you can't make it. Now, I've been sending tickets out, even some today. You'll be getting them, so I know you've been sending me in, and I got everybody in there. Don't worry, you'll be getting your ticket in the mail. I got you all down. You'll have the tickets, so don't you worry. They're coming to you. All right, so we got through that. Okay, well, let's start off here. Well, let's talk about the 2024 annual meeting of the governing body. Yeah, well, that'll be next Saturday. It's always held the first Saturday of the month. So next Saturday will be the first Saturday of the month. And the governing body, the wonderful governing body, they'll be meeting. Now, I have predictions, or maybe you have predictions. Jehovah's Witnesses, they're predicting that they're expecting a big change. Yeah, yes, they are. That's what's going around the kingdom halls. What is the governing body going to say this time? Just like a lot of gossip going on in kingdom halls about what the governing body is even going to say this time around. And then why wouldn't they gossip? And then why wouldn't we even project things? I mean, the governing body has been making so many changes just in the last year, the last 18 months. It's hard to keep up with it. So, the Jehovah's Witnesses have a right. They have got a right that they're going to expect some change. And why wouldn't they? My goodness, they've had so many changes, like I say, the beards, women wearing pants, not reporting time. Really, so, there's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors flowing around. But, I'm going to make a big swing guess at it. I did last week. I told you what I really felt, and I'm staying to it. I'm sticking to it. Could be wrong, but I think it could happen. I mentioned last week that I think they're going to really kind of do away with the 144,000 number. I think they're going to say, yeah, it is symbolic. Then they're not going to really say they were wrong, but as they would usually say, we're going to make some adjustments. So I'm looking to at least, but I'm not sure. But I'm thinking that the 144,000, it's got to disappear. This is strangling the Watchtower. Everybody knows. I mean, all you have to do is get on the internet. It's a great equalizer. Everybody knows that, there's more than 144,000 Christians. Even one that's not a Christian can tell you there was more than 144,000 Christians since the first century. The Watchtower says, no, 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 no. There was only 144,000 up till now, but now they're strangled. They're strangled because you guys remember, I mean, they said that, well, 1914, it was a pivotal point in the Watchtower. And they said that those who were living during 1914 would not die before the end would come, for one thing. So the end, they're already dead. So not only are they going to change the doctrine, I feel, on the 144,000, but what goes part and parcel with that is 1914. So I think they're going to kind of drop that as well. I don't know what they're going to say about that. I know they haven't been talking about it lately, but it's just my thoughts. At least I feel 144,000. I'm pretty secure with that. But 1914, they're going to do something with that. I mean, how are they going to keep explaining the generation? How are they going to do that? They're not going to be able to do it. So, there's all kinds of rumors going around. They're making all these changes, as we know, in the last year and a half. So we're hearing all kinds of rumors. Now, you guys have been hearing it too. Now, here are the rumors that I have heard. Now, don't take them to the bank and cash. I'm telling you right up front, they're rumors. But some of the stuff that's floating around, not only in the ex-witness world, but also in the Jehovah's Witness world. These are some of the rumors that I have heard that are floating around, that sisters would become ministerial servants. Have you heard that? That's a little bizarre. I mean, even though biblically speaking, they could, the Watchtower could allow for that, but I don't think they would. But we've also heard the rumor of a no midweek meeting. They were going to do away with it. That's a possibility. I don't think that it's out of the realms of possibility. No midweek meeting. And then also we've heard no more door to door. Well, you heard that too, right? I've been hearing that. And also, I mean, there's all kinds of things. I've even heard about the publishers being allowed to bring pets to the meeting. I mean, have you heard that one? It's crazy stuff I'm hearing. I mean, pets are being allowed to go into restaurants and go into the Home Depot and all of these other places. I guess maybe the witness organization could get up to speed and let you bring your pet to the meeting, even though I know the Watchtower doesn't like pets. Oh, they don't like pets. We talked about that before. See, the Watchtower feels that pets take too much of your attention away. And, they cost too much money. So that's money that could be given to the Watchtower. So some crazy stuff. But, definitely it feels like the governing body is preparing for something. I feel that way, but it might just be dead, like a dud. It's very possible it could be. So whether it's going to be a doctrinal change, well, whether it's going to be an announcement about the Great Tribulation, I've even heard that they might come up and say, well, we're now in the Great Tribulation. They basically have already said it, but maybe they could be more emphatic about it. But there's going to be all kinds of shenanigans, and it's yet to be seen. So we don't know, but maybe you guys, if anyone has a prediction of their own, and they would like to voice it here on the 6 screens tonight, is there anybody out there listening in to our radio network here that feels like there's something on the horizon? If you do, go ahead, hit *6. Hit *6 if you do. If no, don't worry about it. Have you heard anything that I haven't heard? I think I've heard just about everything. But I have to say this idea of pets is relatively new. I just heard that recently. All right, so no, it's okay. You don't have to comment. I just thought I'd just ask. But anyways, a lot of things have been coming up here lately. About Tony Morris. Well, we know he's not going to be at the annual meeting. Anthony Morris III. He's not going to be at the annual meeting. I don't think they're going to miss Tony. But I have to tell you, a lot of people have been asking, "Where's Tony?" No, we never got a clear answer. And there's actually a lot of even Jehovah's Witnesses to this day that are kind of curious. What happened to Tony? They never even told the witness world what happened. So it's kind of interesting. What I feel is that he either voluntarily resigned. With all these changes that the Watchtower has been going through in the last few years, he had privy to this before it happened, and he might have just balked. He might have just said, "No, I don't really want to go along with it." So maybe he was just gently pushed out. Now, it wasn't like Tony's gone, he's just fellowshipped a bad guy. No, it wasn't. He was gently pushed out. And I believe, I don't know, but I believe it was because he didn't agree with the new direction the Watchtower is going in. He didn't like that. But, either way, he left with a golden parachute. Well, a golden parachute. He got a free house. He's going to live the rest of his life in a free house. And from what I understand, including utilities, he's got a free car to drive. He's got free health care. He's probably also on a monthly stipend. And in return, he had to sign a tight NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. So Tony's all right. I mean, don't worry about Tony. He's probably sitting down there in Lumberton, North Carolina, sipping on some Macallan, listening to our program. It's a possibility. We wish you the best, Tony. Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this? Sisters are now stopping, many of them. I don't know how many, 100, 200. I don't know. But there are sisters that they're stopping being pioneers. They can no longer afford it due to the high cost of living. And it is high cost of living. I'm not going to in any way tell you that everyone's doing wonderful, because they're not. Yeah, people are making more money, but the high cost of everything. Even up here in Massachusetts, and I'm finding. Did someone want to say something? Did you want to say something? 580. Go ahead. You're on with us. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Chewy, Rick.
Yes, Joey.
This is the only thing I want to say, and then it just goes right along with your comment. I was talking to a pioneer sister, a pioneer sister that lives 2 houses down from me. She's male. She said she had to get out 35. She had 35 letters on her table that she had to mail out. Now, keep in mind, they do that on their own dime. She didn't say whether she was printing out the material on her own or whether she was writing it, but she had 35. And I talked with her about the local lack of Facebook activity within the community here, as far as either theocratic or just in general, because she's never been on Facebook. And you know what she told me, Rick? She said, they're like me. They're tired. They're tired. They don't want, that's what she told me, Rick. She said, they're tired. They're tired of this stuff. That's what she told me. I was like, wow. Wow. And then her and her husband went out in service later that day. They were heading out to service. Anyway, have a good
Well,
How do you make sense out of nonsense?
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Chewy, because, not only is it expensive, but you get tired. When do you get tired? When do you really get exhausted? You get exhausted when life is really coming hard down on you. You're not making enough money. You're having a hard time paying the rent. Wouldn't that tire you out? I mean, that is painful. Do you imagine what's happening? Sisters are just they can't do it. You need two members of the family working in order just to make a living and to pay the mortgage and keep your car. You know, the car payments. What do you think the average car payment is in this country? Have you thought about it? It's $700 a month. $700 a month. You know, years ago when I bought my first house back in 1967, my house payment was going to be $200, and I was really sweating bullets whether I could make the mortgage payment or not. But you got car payments today, $700 a month. I mean, this is no wonder why you can't pioneer anymore. So it's not just sisters. It's not just sisters. It's got to be other people too. They're saying we just can't do it. But you know, I'm going to tell you, just staying on the idea of sisters here. You know, this is I'm gonna pick on the Watchtower right here. I'm gonna throw a dart at them, so to speak, because I'm gonna tell you, they would tell sisters, well, sisters, the only way that you're gonna find a good and honest brother is you really have to, you know, pioneer, and he'll be seeking you out for marriage. So a lot of sisters went on the advice of the Watchtower. Well, I'm going to pioneer, and you know, maybe a nice young brother will see how sincere and how loyal I am to Jehovah. Maybe he'll come and marry me. I mean, many sisters thought that. Maybe y'all listening in and you've been left behind too, because I'm going to tell you the truth about that. The sisters that got married were the weak sisters. They were the ones that were getting the guys, while the rest were out pioneer knocking on doors. So a regular pioneer, there's just nothing in it anymore. There really, really isn't. And can you imagine pioneering today? Oh my God, I can't believe how difficult that would be. It's very controversial. All the witnesses, well, the world knows about Jehovah's Witnesses, that they know how heinous and evil the Jehovah's Witness organization is. I mean, they got a mouthful for Leah Remini and Dateline and all of these programs they've had about witnesses. Don't you think the world is catching up on Jehovah's Witnesses? Countries are catching up. Don't you think people are catching up? I would be embarrassed to walk down the street as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I used to walk down proud as could be, and I never had my head in the air, but I felt like, wow, I'm quite the guy here. I'm a Jehovah's Witness, and I'm going to tell these people at the door that they got to believe in Jehovah or they're going to die. But I had to do it nicely. But do you think they feel that way today? No way do they. No, they don't. So we're seeing pioneers leaving. We're seeing older brothers and sisters watching their life go by without any feelings that they're really closer to Armageddon. I mean, after a while, wouldn't you think those feelings would go? If you were told for years, now I was in the witness world for 50 years of my life. I'm out of it now, you guys know, but Satan kicked me out back in 2005. But, you know, after a while, enough is enough. You can't just take that baloney. You got to say to yourself, hey, where is it, Watchtower? You've been promising me. I can remember going to a convention back in the 1960s, and a brother got up there, a district overseer. This isn't a pencil, it's a pen, but I'll use it to show you what he said. So he held the pencil up. Brothers and sisters. This is back, friends, in the 1960s, okay? He held the pencil up. Brothers, district overseer. Brothers and sisters, do you see this pencil? He says, do you see the tip of this pencil? Then he pointed at it. That's where we are. Armageddon is right around the corner. I mean, don't you think, at what point does any reasonable minded person say enough is enough? I hope that's where most witnesses are. And I mean, the younger, we talk about the sisters dropping out from pioneering. They can't afford it. Well, let's just focus here. Let's talk about the Gen Zers, or even some early age millennials. So let's talk a little bit about them for a second. Do you think they're finding life is expensive? Hey, have you been out pricing apartments lately? Have you been out pricing homes lately? Right up here in Massachusetts, I feel like I'm living in, an area that has the highest prices for anything. The average price of a home up here is very close to $1 million, and it's not even a good home. It's not. Everything is just absolutely nutty for prices. Apartments, to get a decent apartment, to get a decent 2-bedroom apartment in the state of Massachusetts, at least in Eastern Mass where I live, it's $3,000, $3,000 a month. How can you even be a witness? How can you even be a witness today and then survive? That's what I'm wondering. I'm thinking that one of the big demise is, if there is such a word, that could bring the Watchtower down. I'm thinking could be the price of everything. How can people even afford to go to the meetings? And well, the gas is coming down. That's one good thing. But how can they afford to even go to the meetings when they know they should have a part-time job? How can they do it? The taxes are going up, the insurance is going up, the phone bills going up, the food costs are going up. At some point, you got to pull the plug. So maybe the demise of the Watchtower, maybe the very way it will collapse is people won't have enough money to be a Jehovah's Witness. Because, I mean, let's face it, they never encourage people to get a good job. They never encourage people to go to college. So what type of job are you going to have? Window washer? Now, I'm not picking on that at all. You do what you have to do. But this organization has hurt so many people from getting a good job. It's not even funny. Really, what do you have to make today? What do you have to make today just to get by? So that's why you're going to see all these pioneers dropping out. But, you're going to have Watchtower. You're going to have Watchtower articles come out and, well, put your trust in Jehovah and, just get by in this system and do what's necessary and just wait on Jehovah and he will rescue you. Well, a lot of people have not been rescued. A lot of people have skipped. I don't know how many people I've had come on this program in the last 20 years that have told me that they have skipped going to college. They skipped having a good career because they were waiting on Jehovah, and now they're in a pickle. They find that their life is just totally, I'm not going to say ruined. Your life is never ruined because you're not making a good living. It's better when you are, but it's not. Even one who doesn't make a good living can get by in life and enjoy life, but it's a little more enhancing. And I have to blame the governing body for this. It's a little more enhancing if you can do a little bit better in life. That's a known fact. Even the Apostle Paul said it. He said he was poor. He said that he had a few extra bucks. He said he was better off when he had a few extra bucks, and you are. So, but this is the governing body. Can they continue to get away with this? I don't think they can. But I'll tell you, I look at the Watchtower. I hate to do this, but every week, for me doing the news, I gotta go on jw.org. It stinks. It's so cultish, but I have to do it. I mean, that's what I do here, right? I do the news, so I have to do it. But there's an article appeared. It was in last week's Watchtower lesson, and it really was. Well, to me, it was really an attack on the apostates. The Watchtower continues to attack the apostates. That would be me. That would be many of you. You're basically apostate if you're listening into this program, or you could be a PMO too. But here's the thing. The Watchtower, for as long as I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, has always had a bad feeling, a loathing, vindictiveness. They hate apostates. As long as I can remember, the Watchtower articles were always, don't look at an apostate, don't accept anything from an apostate. Well, nothing's new. They're just upping the ante. In the Watchtower lesson last week, it's not tomorrow, but it was last Sunday, they brought up all about apostates and how high technology is making an effort to get people, the apostates are using high technology to confuse and divide Jehovah's Witnesses. They're saying they're using this. And then there were some comments made in the meeting when they were going over this Watchtower lesson. Many of the brothers and sisters were saying that AI, artificial intelligence, is what the apostates are using. That's what they're saying we're using to make things seem real, and it's not. But I'll tell you, they're going to continue to say stuff like this. But I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to show you a picture. If you're listening on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, I want to show you a picture that I found very, very fascinating. It was in last week's study article of the Watchtower. And the reason why I find it fascinating is, I'll show you the picture first and I'll explain it to you. So let me show you the picture. Where is the picture? Where did you go? Well, I thought, give me 1 second, folks. I'm going to get the picture. Just give me a second to get the picture. It won't, but take a second. And I forgot to put it in here. But let me do this. There's the picture right now. Let's open it up. All right, you'll see the picture. Just give us a second. You'll see the picture, and I'll explain it to you. All right, so here's the picture that appeared in the Watchtower article last week. Not this week, not tomorrow, but last week. Now, that is a picture that's seen in last week's study edition. So let me just read you paragraph 15 of that Watchtower, and then I'll explain what this picture is all about. It says here, what can we learn from Paul's words to the Thessalonians? When we hear something that does not harmonize with what we have learned from the Bible, or when we hear a sensational rumor, we need to use discernment. In the former Soviet Union, our enemies once circulated a letter that was allegedly from the world headquarters, and the letter encouraged some of our brothers to form a separate, independent organization. It says the letter itself, I'm reading right from the Watchtower here, folks. It says the letter itself appeared to be genuine, but faithful brothers were not fooled. They realized that the message the letter contained did not line up with what they had been taught. So I'll stop there and go back reading, but the picture on your left, that is a picture, see, they put in there. And he's holding a letter from the Watchtower saying that what was going on was not true. And he is supposed to be a Russian man, but they had to put a picture up. They had to put a picture up because, see, I always say this, people think in pictures, people remember in pictures, and people are moved to action in pictures. So here they're saying that the Russians were actually spreading false rumors about the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses. And the letter that brother's apology is holding, or that Russian man's holding, is supposedly from brothers making independence of an organization. That's supposed to be a person that divided from the Watchtower and started his own little religion there. And he's got this letter, but they said that was false. That was something the internet said was false. So that's one picture. You see another picture up there. But let me go on. Let me just read. So I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. They're trying to emphasize to you that don't believe everything you hear on the internet. It's all a bunch of lies. So today, this is right from the Watchtower again, same paragraph 15. Today, enemies of the truth sometimes use modern technology in an effort to confuse and divide us. Rather than be quickly shaken from our reason, we can protect ourselves by considering whatever and what we hear or read is in harmony with the truths we have already learned. So they're emphasizing again. So, there it is, another person, and this person appears to be in a group of witnesses, and he's showing them stuff on the internet. And of course, he's kind of saying, I got the stuff I want to show you, but, they're not going to look at it. they're going to look at that as high technology. It's all lies. Well, what I would like to ask at this point to the Watchtower, if you're gonna if you're gonna have an article like this in the Watchtower last week, let me get this off here. If you're gonna have an article like this in the Watchtower last week, and you're gonna say that don't listen to what's on the internet, well, could they give us some examples? Well, why don't they provide an example? They give 0 examples of what information is being used to confuse and divide. Now, if you were an honest organization, wouldn't you say that people are saying to us that Jeffrey Jackson, our governing body member, lied in Australia? Well, why don't they say that and then come back and refute it? Why don't they do that? Well, why is it they have to hide this stuff? Well, I think we know that the governing body is running scared, and they know that it's impossible. It is impossible to defend the facts. The facts are they are liars. That's the facts, and it's impossible for them to defend it. 248. What do you have to say? Do you agree? 248.
Yes, Greg, I do. I do agree. They clearly lying, and they are trying to defend something that's indefensible. But I wanted to comment on what you mentioned earlier regarding sisters not being pioneers. There's no sense of urgency like it was in the 1960s. 1960s, there was a sense of urgency, as you indicated, about the pencil demonstration, that we need to keep our eyes on the prize. Well, you can only say that for so long. When people don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, that voice is going to get very, very quiet. It doesn't have the same impact it was when you and I were witnesses in the 1960s. A sense of urgency that Armageddon is going to come, it's going to be a paradise earth. That does not work anymore with these witnesses today, especially the ones who are younger, because they didn't grow up in the 1960s. They didn't get that sense of urgency during the Brother Noah era. So I think it really has an impact. There's no sense of urgency. There's no light in the tunnel.
Well, thank you. I agree with you. Well, I'm so glad to hear you here. You come on a lot lately, and I really appreciate it, brother. It's John, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you, John. Always good to hear from you. Come back and see you soon. All right, let's go to 604. 604, you're on with us. 604, you want to come on?
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, 604, you're on with us.
Yes, it's Flavica.
Yes, Flavica. Yes, in fact, we're going to bring you on just very, very shortly. You hang on for a little bit, okay?
Okay.
I got some news stories I'm doing, and we'll bring you on about 20 minutes or so, okay?
Okay.
So you hang on there.
Should I call back in 20 minutes?
Call back and listen if you want, but yeah, call back in 20 minutes, half hour, you'll be all right, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, so yeah, she got that's our Flevick is going to come on. She got some stuff she wants to share with us, but we're running a little. She coming a little bit too early, but we'll get back on here very shortly. All right, so anyways, we're talking about the witnesses now passing around gossip in the congregations. They're saying that the apostates are using AI, artificial intelligence, to defame the governing body. Look, I don't think that we have to use artificial intelligence to gain the governing body. They're doing a great job themselves doing it. They're defaming themselves. When you stop and think, just stop and think of some of the most embarrassing moments the Jehovah's Witness organization has had in the last few years. What about Pillowgate? Well, what about all of that shenanigans where, they were concerned that brothers were rubbing up against their pillow to be self-satisfied? I mean, how low can that be? And then, of course, they were concerned. We know the Watchtower for many years has hired so many lawyers, including their own as well as outside lawyers, to defend them in the child sex abuse cases. And Jeffrey Jackson, we mentioned that, lying to the Australian Royal Commission. I mean, the governing body's bringing these complaints upon themselves. We don't need AI to doctor it up. We don't have to have anything to doctor up. These guys are baboons. These guys are bringing upon themselves. But, you know, the PMEs, those loyal Jehovah's Witnesses, they're so blindly loyal. They cannot see the real truth. And doesn't that really, does that make your stomach turn? It does me. And it's sad in many respects. But when you have facts that are presented to you and you look at it like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. When it's factual, it's sad. That is mind control at its best. That they just like in some type of a hypnotic state. So it's just absolutely mind-boggling that that the witnesses would really allow themselves to have that amount of loyalty. You know, but the good thing is here, I get reports coming into the 6 screens every single week from people write to me. They send me information, and you know, they're really seeing that a lot of the witnesses are really beginning to doubt their religion. They're starting to see how unloving it is, how unforgiving, how untrue it is, and they don't know what to do. And then picture yourself in that position too. And maybe many listeners to the program tonight are there. Maybe you don't know what to do. What are we going to do? We see our religion falling apart, and you know, we don't really want to just make a fiery exit out the back door. We got to be very careful. But there's so many levels of delusion. So many levels of delusion, and so many of the witnesses are held captives. And it's terrifying in some ways. It's very much like being a hostage. It's unbelievable. Go ahead, 602. You're on with us.
Hey, Rick, I take a little issue with what you're saying on that about the Jehovah's Witnesses, because I have families. You know, my sister, and my brother who passed away, they were diehard JWs. And I tell Jesse, because I like to keep it simple. And Jesus addressed this, because when Jesus was here on earth, I mean, he brought people back from the dead. He cured your mother-in-law. He cured your family members, and people were still pissed off. Think about that. You know, imagine if somebody comes and cures your wife from whatever ailment she has, and then you get mad at the person who cures her. So what happens is they're blinded. They're hate blind. And I always use that quote in Star Wars where Yoda says, "Fear is the path of the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering." The Jehovah's Witnesses hate so much, are a fearful organization, an angry organization, a hateful. And because they do that, they suffer and they're blind. But it's also they're blind because they will not confess their sin. And their big sin, like my sister, my brothers, and I admit it, as I was an idolater. You see, the Jehovah's Witnesses worship the governing body. But when you just admit that you were a worshiper of men, then it's like the dominoes. They all start to fall into place. So the reason why the Jehovah's Witnesses, in my opinion, can't wake up, it's because they're not allowed to, Rick. They're not allowed to wake up. And I'm not saying every single one, but the diehards, they're going to die Jehovah's Witnesses because they love their governing body. They love their idolatry. Just like the religious leaders that when they killed Jesus, they kept doubling down after they killed Jesus. But Nicodemus left. He says, "I'm out of here." Very few people will actually admit, yeah, I was wrong. And this is why in the Christian message and outside of the Jehovah's Witnesses, you hear religions always say, repent, repent, come and confess. And John the Baptist was saying, repent for the kingdom of, repent, right? Because the kingdom of heaven has drawn near. Repent. Jehovah's Witnesses, the governing body does a video and he says, we do not have to apologize. We do not have to repent. We don't have to say we're sorry. We do not have to say we're sorry that we're the worst offender of all of the cases of the Australian Royal Commission. And when you are a person that never says you're sorry about anything, God has blinded you because of your anger, your hatred, your idolatry. And I love my sister, I love my brother, but you got to call a spade a spade. You know, and guess what, Rick? When you just do it, when you just say, Rick, I'm sorry, everything just seems to work out. And the Jehovah's Witnesses can't figure that out. I hope I added to your show, Rick.
Oh, well, Gilbert, you always add to my show. You always make me look good. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's Gilbert Gonzalez, brother Jesse. They got a program. It's not coming on tonight, but it's coming on next week. And Tale of Two Witnesses next Saturday night at around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, I'll tell you what, good news. I mean, I love good news when I hear the Watchtower is in trouble. Now, that isn't, I'm not trying to take a vindictive, hateful attitude over this whole thing. But I really, these people have caused so many problems. They have created, I mean, you heard Barbara Anderson's program tonight. In my 20 years of doing programs here on the 6 screens, that was one of the worst cases of abuse I've ever heard in my life. And that woman's writing a book. And I mean, I know the Watchtower's hurt so many people. And it's so good when I see bad news about the Watchtower. And that's all I see. And the same thing with you guys. When you look around on the internet and you find stories about the Watchtower, it's all negative for the most part. Pixie, what do you have to say?
Well, I just wanted to reinforce what you were mentioning about the sisters not having the funds. Here in the small town where I am, the lipsticks at the Target and the lipsticks at the Walmart are under lock and key now because people are stealing in the stores. And this is not a big city. They're going to be changing the way people shop. The UN treaty has passed. There's going to be more control in everybody's life. I was sad this week because Sister Favorite died because she didn't have a blood transfusion. Some of these doctrines that they have, they're not awake to everything. They have a magazine called Awake, but they're not awake. And just like Gilbert said, that they're going to stay like that. So we really can't waste the precious day trying to get them to leave, because they probably won't. But our world is changing economically in a swift way.
I have to tell you, Pixie, you're right on with that. It is changing dramatically. Now, let me just tell you, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm going to tell you how I see things changing, okay? Now, I live here in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. It's a nice little town. It's about 20 miles north of Boston. And, I go to the market basket. That's where you buy your food. That's your food market. So I went to the market basket the other night, and standing in line, I counted 40 people of, different country that are here. 40 people. And they're all cashing checks. And I tried to talk to them. I said, hi, you guys all coming home from work? They're all Spanish. They wouldn't talk to me. And we have got a changing little community here. I've never seen this before as long as I lived. People weren't paying too much attention to it, but I counted 40 people standing in line. These people did not have bank accounts. I don't know where they came from, whether it was the border or where it was, but it was frightening to me. It was frightening to me. And I'm not being political when I say it, but you brought up the changing world that we're living in, where they have to put lipstick behind a glass counter, even to buy shaving cream, to buy in Walgreens up here. I talked to one of the people who works in Walgreens, and he says, Rick, he says, people come into Walgreens, he says, and they steal like crazy. They steal makeup, candy bars, chips, everything. And he says they walk right out the door and they're basically smiling at you while they're doing it. And I said, why do you stop them? He says, nope. He says the Walgreens management said, just let them walk. Don't go running out. your life could be in danger, which makes sense to me. But he says we have to watch people coming in and stealing stuff all the time. It's a changing world, Pixie.
And also, the money system is going to go digital, and I don't know how that's going to work. I haven't had anybody explain it to me yet.
Well, I say, people say, well, first of all, we already have digital money. Digital money is basically credit cards and debit cards. That's all done digitally. But what we're going to get, we're going to get crypto of some type. Even Donald Trump, if he gets into office, he's talking about coming up with his own crypto coin, so to speak. But see what they have to do, and really whether, I'm not going to get political here, whether Democrats win or the Republicans win. We've got, 9 billion people, I think, now on planet Earth. There's got to be some way of bringing currency together. We can't have the American dollar. We can't have the yen. We can't have the euro. We got to bring it all together. So crypto is a way to do it. But all of this is, this is changing financially. At the same time, I'm thinking the financial changes here are going to affect the Watchtower in terms of things are getting ridiculously expensive. It is crazy. You can't afford to be a Jehovah's Witness. Now, will people give up their loyalty because of not having enough money being a witness? I would say that money is the most important thing to many people, Pixie. They will give it up.
Well, we're going to be in some interesting times, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we can see it happening. I can see it right in the town I live in. And it's something that I'll tell you what, I'm not to the point of being totally afraid, but this is the first time really in my life that I thought about getting a gun. I hate to say this on the air here tonight, but this is the first time in my life that I'm thinking about actually getting a gun, because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to say either way. Either way, whoever gets in, there's going to be some riots. I'm not trying to be a Jimmy Bell or a Reese or a Fritz here either. But either way, if the Republicans get in or the Democrats get in, there's going to be riots of some type. People are going to be so upset. I've never seen this. This is like it's so much hatred in the political world. I've never seen this. If I was a young person, I would lose all interest in politicalness in the political world here. I'd lose it all. Well,
the 10-cent solution is to make sure the locks on your doors are good.
Yes. And like I said, it could go either way. Dick Borgie, what do you have to? Yeah.
Also, some of the jobs that the witnesses, they didn't go on and get education like I did, and some of them have trades, but a lot of the sisters don't. A lot of these cashier jobs used to pay pretty well, like if you were at a supermarket or something. All that's going automated.
Yeah.
So some of the jobs that people had, and then some of these brothers would clean office buildings at night. A lot of these office buildings are vacant. So their whole success model is kind of imploded on them.
Yeah. Well, Pixie, I don't know what your McDonald's are like out there in Virginia, but I'll tell you what's going on here with the McDonald's closest to my house. You pull in. Now, they used to have like 10 people working there. They got about 3 or 4 now. And what they do is they take your order and then they park you and then they bring your food out. They don't have the help. They have to pay like $20 an hour. They can't afford to do that, so they cut back on all their help. So we are living in changing times, Pixie. Thank you for bringing that up. This is going, yeah.
I cook Southern here, and I have good coffee. So,
yeah. Well, if we're ever down,
Kitchen is.
Yeah.
Pixie Kitchen's doing fine.
The Pixie Kitchen. That'd be a good name for Jane. Thank you, Pixie. Dick, what's Dick Borgie got to say? Dick, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I'm getting Rick. I'm with you. I'm going to go to a gun show this week, next week, and I might pick up something. I've never touched a gun since I left the Marine Corps. But I want to talk about the Watchtower. The idea of saying that, the apostates are using AI and all this stuff, and got to watch out for the apostates. but you're right. They never, would say something like, yeah, Connie was just saying something to me. I just completely lost my train of thought. Give me a second here, Rick.
Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah. Many times, over the last 20 years, we've always invited the governing body on. The Six Screens touches, thousands of people every month, and there's a rippling effect to that, and they know it. Why don't they defend themselves? I mean, I poked a finger, and I've been doing this for a long, long time, at the Watchtower, calling them liars, false prophets. We expose their scams, and they never come on Six Screens and say, "Oh, you got Borgie, you got it wrong. This is how it is," or "Rick, you got it wrong." And they never call up to correct us, because we can't be corrected if we don't know for sure. Like you always say, don't take it to the bank and try to cash it, but this is what you're hearing, and this is what I'm hearing. I can tell you right now, we just did a thing on the Freemasons, Jeffrey Jackson and Stephen Lett. They're wearing rings, attached to the Freemasons. Why don't they come on and say, well, Borg, you got it wrong. We don't wear these rings, but or something, or the governing body never said that 1975 was going to bring Armageddon. Just a few brothers ran ahead, and the other brothers listened to rumors. Why don't they come on and talk to us, or come on anybody's program? Because I would love to have a governing body member come on my program. We'd have some fun. Thanks, Rick.
Dick, are the lights back on in South Carolina?
Hi, Rick.
Yeah.
No, the lights aren't on.
Hi, honey. I'd like to say something.
Yeah.
The lights aren't on.
Oh, you're asking if the lights are
Yeah, I know. Yesterday the lights were off. They're still off, huh?
Oh, yeah. We got the generator on, and the power's going to be out for a whole week.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. It's like we're camping, I guess. But, Rick, I was going to say we just got the generator going and everything, and I just wanted to chime in with the show. I was going to say, I loved Gilbert's comment, by the way. That was really excellent. I could really relate to what he was saying. But, Rick, when people are liars, they're full of deceit. They're full of deception and craftiness. And Watchtower does not want people to really know how deceiving and what liars they are. This is the biggest con job ever, all in the name of God, His Word, and so-called Christianity. As long as they can continue to deceive people, then they'll continue to collect more and more money, donations, to make them wealthier and wealthier. But the real dangerous part about this is, on a spiritual basis, people lose out on God's promises of everlasting life. That's where this is really, really serious. I remember, I've learned a lot from John Ramirez, and one thing John Ramirez has said, he said, if Satan the devil can take God's character and twist it to a point of deception, and people will believe those lies of who God is, and it's untruthful, then, those people are absolutely lost. And that's exactly what Watchtower does, all in the name of God and Christianity. And Watchtower, the governing body members, do not want anybody to expose them for their lies. You cannot deny all the children who have been sexually raped and abused and their lives destroyed because of these monsters and pigs who are in the organization, okay? And you cannot deny that their elders book allows kiddie porn to be acceptable. A lot of times when people are involved in kiddie porn, they go down the road and now they're sexually abusing children. I mean, that is a fact. That it is a stepping stone, and that is a fact of life. Watchtower, why doesn't Watchtower turn over their database to Erwin Zolkin? Why don't they do that? Because they're a bunch of cowards and they're hiding because they know that we are exposing them. And, they don't want to be exposed. They're a bunch of cowards and they're a bunch of liars. And this is not Christianity. And the hardest part, Rick, is a lot of people are being affected thinking, I was one of them, Rick. I was one of them. I don't want anything to do with God. I don't want anything to do with the Bible. I don't want anything to do with Christianity if this is what it's all about. And Watchtower just twists it like crazy. So instead of being accountable, like Gilbert said, they have so much pride and so much arrogance. Well, we know what God says. What happens? Pride, you have pride, and then there's a fall. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Watchtower. But instead of Watchtower being held accountable and say, okay, all right, I repent. Yes, we are wrong. We have been molesting children. Yes, we have a big database. We don't want to turn it over, but yes, we will. Yes, we screwed over a lot of people's lives and damaged their lives, 75, and the blood transfusions and everything else. What happens is that they want to point the finger at all of us because we are telling the truth and they still want to hide behind their dirty lies. That's what I have to say tonight, Rick. So thank you.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Rick, just if I could jump on. Pixie was just mentioning our monetary system. Well, we're $34 trillion in debt. We can't pay the interest on the money we're borrowing. The system can't sustain itself. The government is probably going to do some kind of recess button, and the government is going to control everything. They control how you spend your money, where you spend your money. They're going to have dossiers on everybody. That's what the mark of the wild, my opinion. I've been wrong before, but my gut tells me that, the six guy, the devil, it's the system. If you don't have a mark on your forehead or on your hand or something, you're not going to be able to buy anything. I think they're going to just do away with our monetary system because, let's face it, it can't sustain itself the way it's going now. They're just printing more money. I think the dollar is worth something like 30 cents now, and they print more money and give it to these illegal aliens and all the welfare people and all that kind of stuff. The money, pretty soon, if they don't do something with the monetary system, the dollar is going to be like German mark was after World War II. Not going to be worth anything. They were taking the German mark and throw it in the furnace for get some heat out of it. That's
all right.
Well,
let me hold on 1 second. What we're going to do here, Constance, I just want to back up that, Dick did mention give money to welfare people. There are plenty of welfare people that do deserve it. They do deserve it.
yes.
Now, some of the stuff.
Yes.
So I just don't want to get Dick in trouble here. So there are people that do deserve to get money from the government, but there's a lot of people right now that are taking it that don't deserve it. So that's just a thought I wanted to bring up. Yep. I just don't want to get Dick in trouble.
Of course, I've worked with that population, and the thing is, you have two different people. You have people that are generational, literally generations of welfare recipients, and you have other people that are working class that still can't make it because inflation is so high and they can't make it. And then you also have other people that think that they're entitled to it. So
yeah. Well,
I think what really annoys a lot of people, Rick, is, people that, women, I suppose you're going to say I'm sexist, but, women out there producing 5 or 6 children with 3 or 4 different husbands, just, getting a welfare check, 5, 6 generations, that's the kind of stuff that it's making this country go broke. And the current administration doesn't care about that. They want to bring in more illegals. and give them big bucks, you know. Yeah, they're all going to welfare, and
Well,
they're living better than Americans. It's a sad
well,
thing.
it's a different world. It's a different world we're living in, Dick. That's for sure. It's unreal. Unreal. But well, what I have to say is, there's not too much we can do about it. There's not too much we can do about it. You know, we can vote, I guess. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. You know who I want. I know who others want. But this, I can't. You know, I get in trouble when we get into politics. But we got to move off politics. Thank you, Dick. Thank you, Constance. All right. All right, let's go to we had to New York City. I believe it was Shirley.
Yeah, I'm here.
Shirley, yeah, I say.
You said when you were in the store, Rick, and you saw people were cashing checks, they didn't speak English, and you said you were kind of afraid.
Yeah.
You were afraid of them.
Yeah.
You don't have your community's mostly just Caucasian. You don't have minorities or whatever in your neighborhood. Point blank, you shouldn't.
Well,
it's good you live where you do, because if you lived in New York, you wouldn't be able to survive, and it's been that way for decades. So if that scares you, that's sad.
well,
You know,
no,
that's very sad.
wait a minute. It's not the color of the skin that was scaring me.
I didn't mention that. I didn't say any color. I just said you just couldn't live in New York. We have many minorities here.
Yeah, well, what I find very confusing is 40 men in their 30s, late 20s, all standing in line to cash a check that I've never seen that before. I'd never seen it before in the community I live in. And the cars were pulling in, dropping these guys off. They were running in, and they were getting hundreds of dollars, Shirley. I mean, I saw hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
They were getting, I mean, I tried to talk to them. They were Spanish. I just have never really seen anything.
I mean, here in New York, you know, we have immigrants. They're all over the place here in New York, more so than where you are. So we're like, even before all that immigrate, they started bringing them in. I mean, like, New York has been multiracial since, you know,
Yeah.
decades, you know, but I was just so interested when you said that scared you. Well, if you see something new in your community, of course, that's your eyes gonna raise.
Yeah. Well,
Communities like I'm in New York, so we're used to that. And we do have an overload. I will say it. New York has an overload of these new immigrants, but we're used to, like my neighborhood, Queens, we have more East Indians than Queens, I think, is the most multi-generational, like in the school system. There are so many languages spoken here. So you to be scared of just that, and I'm living in New York. I mean, I've seen it just about all my life. So I just find that so interesting.
Well, no, I'll tell you why it's interesting too, is, there's a woman that calls in from New York. I won't use her name, but she has called in here from time to time, and she's a fine lady. And she's so afraid. She was telling me that she used to be able to go out and go shopping by herself. Now she said what they're doing, I don't know what part of New York she lives in. I think Brooklyn, I'm not sure. But she says that now what they do is they have like a neighborhood gathering where they all gather together and go walk or at least drive to the store. They're afraid to go to the store themselves. That's what she told me. Yeah. So
I believe her. I believe different neighborhoods are different. I believe her.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crime all over, Rick. You can't run. That's number one.
Yeah.
You can't run, no matter what your neighborhood is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but it's just, we're in a changing world, and it's not, I have to tell you that whether it's going to get better or not, nobody knows that. We just have to wait and see. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you, Shirley. Thank you for coming in. All right. Well, listen, I think we have, all right. Did we have one more? Okay. Let's go to Slavika.
Hello.
Slavika, you're on with us. So give me the
Yes, I am.
Yeah, give me the pronunciation of that again. Am I saying it right? I know I've been messing it up here. Slavika?
Slavika is right, yes.
Slavika, okay. I just want to make sure. It's a beautiful name. So forgive my
Thank you.
misunderstanding of it. Sometimes I get so many people calling different names. But anyway, Slavika, okay, you get your 15 minutes we'll give you 10, 15 minutes here. then we got to move on. But let's talk about you. I want you to address the group. You've been on a 6-screen Sunday program. You were trying to start a movement. You're trying to create a movement that will change the way authorities look at the Watchtower. Tell us about that, Slavika.
Okay.
You gotta shut you gotta shut your YouTube off because it echoes. You can't have that on. Okay, I hear it in the background.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shut that off, and then you can just talk on the phone. Okay.
Okay, just a moment. Okay, just a moment. Okay, just a moment. Okay, there it is.
All right, good.
Shut it off now.
All right, good. Yep. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Yep.
Okay. So I believe that in order to take the Watchtower down, with the entire cult of 8 million Jehovah's Witnesses in the world, is to pursue prosecution of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses. And the only lawyers able to investigate and prosecute are criminal lawyers who belong to the government. Now, that in itself is a problem, because we know the problem with the government. But this is the way that they've set it up, fair or not, and that's the only option that we have now, is to pursue these attorney generals to prosecute criminals. So there are criminal lawyers who can defend in a criminal lawsuit, but only government-paid lawyers can sue or bring alleged criminals in court to prosecute of an alleged crime. So lawyers called attorney generals are under the direction of the government, and the governments are under the influence of, as we know, big business, big tech, and the oligarchs. And so when we look at the pyramid of power, we can see that even our president and even the best of them have had a real battle for justice. Some were assassinated, and not in the dark either, not in a dark alley, but in front of the world for everyone to see. Now, their message was either you do what we want, or you can end up as what you see. So this was their message when they assassinated President Kennedy. So this is now the battle for good against evil. It has nothing to do with numbers or power or money. It is all about choose your side. So you can either choose God's side, or Satan's side. It's only those two sides. You cannot be neutral. Okay, so because God can read hearts, so being a hypocrite does not work. Okay, so I have made a choice, and I stand on God's side, and He has always taken care of me. So, with some of His qualities, I have made good choices and good decisions. And you know what the organization said: put the kingdom first, and all of these other things will be added to you. Unfortunately, that organization was not God's organization, and therefore God was not blessing that work. He did bless those who showed genuine love toward each other, but as for the rest of it, it was led by Satan, and unfortunately, we were not treated with love at all, but on the contrary, we were treated the way that Satan treats the people that fall under his awful, unbelievable, unloving, satanic power. So all of us, that are out, that have left that organization, have much to be grateful for. But the battle now in front of us is that all of this evil from all sides, governments, false religions, our own weaknesses, wrong desires, pride, selfishness, and so we have to fight this evil so that it is evident to all what side we are on. So I feel that I must do my utmost to bring the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses to justice for all the harm they have done and continue to do, especially where our children are concerned. So this is my job, and I work at it 8, and sometimes 10, and sometimes 12 hours a day. Now, how many hours a day can you give to join me in my fight? That's up to you. So now, our strongest opening that we have right now for our case of prosecuting the governing body is from the opening that Michelle Henry left for us by exposing their crime of failing to protect our children, by failing to even warn the Kingdom Halls or the Kingdom Hall members about elder pedophiles using their Kingdom Hall and their positions to commit sexual rape with Kingdom Hall children. Okay, so we need to expose this complete failure and incompetence and criminal failure to do their job of the Attorney General, Michelle Henry, to all governments, to all government officials. So basically what I'm saying is that, first of all, we ask the Attorney General, Michelle Henry, to do her job, to do their job. And now if they fail, then we have to go to all the government officials to say, these people, these attorney generals are not doing their job. They're not protecting our children. And so, and we cannot wait until after the election. The election, whoever wins does not alter our goal. Okay, so the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses have already been found guilty in civil court and have paid many millions to settle their cases. So since they have already been found guilty in civil court, it shouldn't be very difficult to find them guilty in criminal court. If you all remember that case, Silent No More, where the young woman Conti was involved in that case, okay, the court ruled that it was not the duty of the congregations to warn the congregations about pedophiles. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't the congregation's duty for that, but it was certainly the duty of the prosecuting attorneys to represent the law and to do their job to protect the children, which is what it says on the Attorney General's website, Michelle Henry. She has sworn an oath to protect our children. And so we need to bring this, I brought it up to her attention in an email. I went to her website. All of you can find her website, Attorney General's office, Michelle Henry. And you can even find the latest story where it talks about a 62-year-old elder of Jehovah's Witnesses who used his position and who used a family that trusted him and allowed him to even move in with them in their home. And then he betrayed them. He betrayed their trust by sexually abusing and raping their child. Okay? And they found him guilty, but they didn't go any further than that. They didn't go after the head of the snake, which is the governing body. Now, did you notice in that case, if you go and look it up and read about it, you will find that there was a jury in that case. So it was a jury trial. And did you notice, if you read that case, you will notice that the juries have no tolerance for child sexual abuse, which is good for us. So once a jury makes a decision and gives an award, it cannot be appealed to the government judges, which is what happened in this case. And then the judges came back and not only changed the amount that was given by the jury, lowered it, but even made the suggestion and that it was not up to the congregation to warn the congregation about pedophiles. And now that I would really question as well. What do you mean it is not their responsibility? That is to warn the congregations that pedophiles are using their kingdom halls, their congregations, to prey upon children. When a pedophile commits a crime and is found guilty in the outside world, as we call it the world, they have to indicate on their door that they've broken the law, that they're a pedophile. Okay, so this is according to the law. Why is there not a sign on each kingdom hall, a sign that there are pedophiles in the kingdom hall, and that children should be protected? But this is something, okay, that if we don't stand up and if we don't voice our concerns and our complaints to these government offices, they'll just continue not doing anything, because above them are those, if we take a look at the pyramid of power, attorney generals have those above them who tell them either to prosecute or not. And so we know where this is coming from, from the top. The only thing that can make a difference is if people stand up for what is right. And if millions were to stand up for what is right, they would have no choice. Okay. Now, I don't know if Trump has ever used a jury in his trial, because juries have the power.
All right. Well, what we're going to do, we don't have all the time in the world here, Slavika. So, what's the bottom line here? What would you suggest we all do?
So I have opened up a group on Facebook, and it's called, please take a look at nullification of juries. That's very important. So we have to get a little bit educated about what is criminal law and so on. Okay, because we have many pending child sexual abuse cases in Canada, in the UK, in Europe, everywhere. But all of these are going under civil law, civil court, which of course will award them money, but will not go after prosecuting the governing body. Okay, so I've opened up a group on Facebook called Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses Global. What I'm hoping to do is gather ex-Jehovah's Witnesses from all over the world so that we can work together and communicate together, because Europe is much further ahead than we are in this process, okay, of suing and going after. Now, the only thing that stands in their way is that the governing body is located in United States, in New York, and that's out of the jurisdiction of the European people. So we need to go after them here from America. So you know my name. If you will give my name to the people and where to find me on Facebook, and how to join my group, I will lead them all the way, every step of the way.
Well, tell them right now. What's the Facebook group?
The Facebook group is like I mentioned, they're EX Jehovah's Witnesses Global, GLOBAL on Facebook.
Right, Ex Jehovah's Witnesses Global. Well, they can remember that. So go ahead and join it. I'll join it myself. Yeah.
Fantastic. And as I said, and you also, Rick, are a very powerful man and a very good man. I've noticed that. And if you join me and we worked on this together, even if you gave me 1 hour a day or a week, I think that we could perform miracles.
Well, I'm glad you say that. I mean, we talked about it today, and, we're trying to find a slot for you to come on and, give you a little update on what's happening and how we're going to go after the governing body. So you and I will be in contact with that and be able to, we're going to find a slot for you. You're a well-spoken woman, Slavika.
Don't forget that we're going to be interviewing that Spanish lawyer, Carlos Bardavio, on your program, either this coming Saturday or the next one. Remember, we
we talked about that. So I talked to Efren about it as well.
Yeah.
So you try to get that attorney on. If we can do it for next week, that would be good. But if we have to put it off another week, that's good too. But keep me posted on that, because that'll be a good call. People would like to hear that. So yeah.
I'm in tomorrow afternoon. I'm interviewing Antonio Madaleno. Antonio Madaleno is an ex-elder, but not only that, he's also an author, and he wrote the book called The Universe of Destructive Cults. It's a very, very powerful book. It's all about, the secret world of deception, manipulation, mind control, all about cults. Okay, so, we were created with a spiritual need. So as a result of this, religions have been used often to lure unsuspecting victims into their cults. And unfortunately, Jehovah's Witnesses are one of those cults. Okay, so this Antonio could come on your program if you want to tomorrow.
We don't have it. It's every other Sunday. But stay in touch with me, so maybe we'll get them on next Sunday. We got a lot. We got 14 programs here now on the 6 screens. So just trying to find slots, and it's good that you want to get these people on. I love that. I thank you very much, Lavika, for trying that. So we're just going to find slots for all of it. Yeah.
He writes about how these cults work, how these charismatic leaders lure people in, and how people can realize whether they're in a cult and how to get out. So this book is fantastic, and he is a really fantastic person.
Well, yeah, let's stay close to me on that, and we'll make a slot for him to come on and talk.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Slavika. Okay. So maybe next week we have a lawyer in Spain that is Spanish, but we have a Spanish interpreter that's going to come on and help us with the man coming from Spain, the lawyer. And he's actually complaining about the Watchtower. What's he work for the state? This man, does he?
He defended our people in Spain, ex-Jehovah Witnesses. They're the Association of Ex-Jehovah Victims.
Right.
He defended them and won in court.
So he's an ex-witness.
And now he's
okay.
The lawyer is an expert. He's an expert lawyer, expert criminal lawyer. Yeah. He is working on the government now to make it criminalizing things such as what is that called? When you sort of force someone to do something.
Coercion.
Against your will. They're trying to legalize. I forgot that word now. It escaped me.
Is it coercion?
But
yeah,
coercion, and they got over 300 signatures.
Yeah.
From people demanding the government to put this into law and to make it against the law. Any form of coercion.
All right. Well, let's do this. We get. Well, let's do this. Let's do this. We get people who want to talk, so let's bring them in. If hold on one second. If someone like to say hello to Slavika, she got a campaign going to bring the governing body to court, so to speak, and get a criminal charge against them. So go ahead. You're on with us, New York.
Rick?
Yes, is Jay?
Yeah, hello, sir. How are you?
Good, I'm doing good.
You hear me?
Yeah, say hello to Slavika.
Hello, Snake. I enjoyed that conversation. It was nice. I just want to say, can I say, I don't know, if this is only about the governing body, or I know you got time constraints.
No, this is about, you can talk to Rick about anything that you want to.
Okay, thank you, Samika. My phone is in and out.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate your effort.
Okay, bye now.
Thank you. I live in New York City, And Rick,
Yes.
is he? Yeah. And I tell you something, it's gotten pretty bad. I mean, I'm right now, I'm in a fancy, well-to-do neighborhood on the Upper West Side in this situation. But when you're living out of boroughs, people, I can see elderly people are afraid to go out because it's not such the 74th, 75th East New York. There's some very bad areas, like I'm sure they got them in Boston, but they got them over here. There's a lot of hands-off policy because the police are being held back by the mayor. Basically, you arrest somebody, and you know, that's funny. The witnesses don't even want to go out because they're afraid that they may be assaulted. A few of them have been. They don't want to be assaulted by people outside. And I remember when I was preaching, I had eggs thrown at me. It was funny because it happened, and the elder told me that was telling me at that time Jehovah caused it. I don't think so. Whatever, I don't believe that. And it's on a mind trip, and they rushed me in a van to get me home. There's a lot of hatred towards witnesses because of what they represent. And yes, they are a cult, and yes, they do abuse children. And do they cover up? They definitely do cover up children. What I would do, it's only my suggestion, is write a letter. Everyone that hears my voice, including myself, write a letter or text the congressman in your district, every legislature person you can do, and that makes a movement. It worked pretty well when I needed some advocacy for certain federal programs for an attorney I worked with. And I tell you, the governing body, they're limited with their money. Most of them are going to be forced out because they can't afford to keep up their high standard, and they're diabolical. I mean, this is not. It's not. I've seen and I know what the evilness of these people are, and unfortunately, whatever's said here is by personal experiences. I've seen that they're very evil and very tricky, and they don't want to know about. They don't want to validate the truth that they do break laws. I don't understand why. I don't understand why the parents are not held culpable if the children are being abused. That's my personal opinion. If you're a witness and your children are molested by them, I know the elders will say don't report it. Then I think you're responsible. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what I wanted to say. I think parents are responsible when they don't report it to the police. Period. It has to be. How can you document it otherwise? If you lose your witness mind control, there's self-help groups like this plus other ones, but it's ridiculous. I mean, you don't take Jesus said, "Bring my little children to me." The most vulnerable people in the congregation are the children, and now they're using them for hold up microphones, and they're using teenagers to be ministerial servants because everyone is they're leaving. There's no attendance anymore. You just take a look at some of the Zoom pictures of some of the halls. Maybe 3-4 people at a place where used to be 100, 110. So that this program tells the truth. It is the way it is. I'm just one of many people that went through it. I see the hypocrisy. It's sad because the world is sad. This place is a fantasy world. It doesn't exist what they promote. It's evilness incarnate. In my opinion, it's the devil. The devil runs this group. And if you get kicked out, like Rick would say, he did me a big favor when he kicked me out. He did me a tremendous favor. It took a long time to get over the fact that all my so-called unconditional, there was no unconditional love. It was based upon a satanic love. You obey me, or we kick you out. We kick you out, just like they had in Germany. If you don't do what the Fuhrer wanted, they kick you out. And these men are like Führers. They kick you out. If you disagree, you just question them. They kick you out. And and that's why people don't want to become elders. They know that they're cruel. A lot of them are very loving, caring, but they're also a little dumb in the head. They don't understand. You don't let children be abused, and you allow it, and you say, "Oh, what can I do? It's up to Jehovah." No, Jehovah needs some help in New York City. You got to get people writing letters or notifying the Congress people in charge. It doesn't just Jehovah. Jehovah to them is the governing body, and not my book. They are not the prophets of doom. They are prophets of the devil. Thank you.
Wow, Jay, that was a mouthful. Hey, good to hear from you, Jay. Good to hear from you. Thank you very much for dialing in. Slavika, you still with us? Well, Slavika, you there? No, I guess not. Well, anyways, that's Jay from New York. We want to thank Slavika, too, and you'll be hearing more from her here on the 6 screens. Well, friends, I'll tell you what, I mean, unbelievable amounts of people coming in here tonight. We thank you for coming in, but we got to do the duck. We got to do the duck. No, nobody said the secret word. So I want you to stay online. I want you to win some points. You get a point for every answer. And then you have to keep score yourself. Now, be honest. If you win a point, chart it down. Every 2 points, you can get a magnet. If you get 5 points, you can get a book. We get some beautiful books here, Millions Now Living. I showed you the picture earlier. So we're going to ask some questions here, but please don't answer it until the music stops, okay? So we do have a number of people online with us right now. Yeah, we got to kind of mute to hold your hand over the phone so we're not picking up echoing. I know people are trying to win some prizes here. If you get 2 points, you get a magnet. You get 5 points, you get a book. And 10 points, you get $100. So let's see what happens. Let's ask the first question here tonight. Nobody brought this up. If it was brought up in the conversation tonight, the duck would have came down, give you give you not $100, but would have gave you a point. But here is the question. There is an assembly hall in New Jersey. It's probably one of the more famous assembly halls the Jehovah's Witnesses have. I would like you to tell me, what assembly hall is it? What assembly hall is it?
Jersey City Assembly Hall, but I don't know the name.
Well, it's in Jersey. What's the name of the assembly hall? Get a point. You've heard of
Family Theater.
I'll tell you what. We've got Debbie Moore got it first. I'm looking at Facebook. Debbie, you're the winner, right? Take a point. You got a point. Debbie Moore on Facebook. You got a point. She said it first. All right. So that's good. So you get the idea, but don't answer until the music stops. All right. What happens when people call into 6 screens? If anything like this was brought up, it would actually, you get points, but no one brought anything up like this tonight. So let's go to the next question. Up in Warwick, New York, the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses, well, they have a town next to it that is called Ramapo. It's in Orange County. But what other town in Orange County has a very, very strange name? When the music stops, you tell me what it is. What's the name of that town? That's a strange name. Tuxedo. Who's saying Tuxedo?
Constance?
Is that Constance? Take a point, Constance. Okay.
Honey.
Yeah, you got it. Good. Okay. I'm surprised you got that, Constance. I wouldn't have thought you got that. That's good. That's excellent. All right.
I might be a California girl, but I listen to your show, Rich. Rick.
Yeah. Well, you must be a 6 Fiend fan, because nobody else knew. Nobody else knew that. Yeah, Tuxedo. Yeah.
Honey, what was the name that Debbie said was the name of that theater? I couldn't hear her. Could you say that?
Stanley Theater. Stanley.
Okay.
That's the prized assembly hall. All right.
Okay.
Okay,
you.
folks, so let's go with another one right now. Well, I do know this as a fact. I don't think it's changed. I think it's still the same. But what day and time do the governing body meet every week? You tell me when the music stops. All right. What
Wednesday.
Wednesday is the day. What time?
Oh, probably in the morning. I don't know, Rick.
Well, I'm going to give some clues. Who said who said
10 o'clock?
Wednesday? Who said Wednesday?
I did, Constance.
All right. It is Wednesday. Now, what time do they meet?
6:30. 8 a.m. or 10 p.m. That's my guess. A.m.
It's 10 a.m. You're right, Constance. All right. So you take a point. Yep. All right. So let's go to another one here. All right. In 1920, a Watchtower publication was released. This Watchtower publication had a green cover. A green cover. I'll give you.
I said the golden age, but
No, I'll give you a clue. I know, Nadine, you're on. I want you to win, Nadine. I'm on your
I
side.
know.
I'm going to try to give you.
I have 9 points.
I want you to win, Nadine. I really, really do. So I'm gonna, but I don't want to sound like I'm, giving you something special. I mean, but I do. I want Nadine to win. But let's see what happens with this. Let me give a clue. Let me give another clue. It was one of the more popular books written by Judge Rutherford. What do you think?
Millions now living never die.
Yeah, Thomas, you got it. Thomas, you got it. Thomas got it. Thomas, boy, Thomas, you know you watch our publications, boy. Yeah.
I thought that might have been it.
Yeah. All right, let's go with another one right here, right now. Just hold on 1 second, and we'll get this done. What was the most popular? Now, we all ate at the conventions. What was the most popular food substance that they sold? Okay, so hold on one. Hold on one. Hold on 1 second. Let's go slow now. They had food. Now, what was the most popular food that they had at the assembly? I think I heard Nadine. Did you say hoagie sandwich, Nadine?
Yes, I said the hoagie sandwich is the very first time before you asked it again.
Well, that's hoagie. You got it, Nadine. You give yourself another point. So Nadine gets it. You get 10. Well, maybe next week. Maybe next week, Nadine, because we got to stop here. But maybe next week you can win $100. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I know you had said 12 in the past, but today you said 10 points.
Well, I lowered it. I lowered it down to 10.
But it's okay. I know you meant 12.
I lowered it to 10 because I want.
You did lower?
Yeah, I lowered it on purpose. I want someone.
I have 10 points.
You have 10 points?
I do. I had 9. I got 2 last week.
Well,
I got 7,
under the old regime. So in other words, you get 2 more, and then we now have 10. But under the old regime it was 12. Not trying to weasel out on you.
Right.
But
Well, I had 9 last week.
yeah, I
So
just
today
I came up with some new rules. So, but
Okay, cool.
so come in next week and get 2 more points, you win. Okay, then we start off 10 points and you win from there on. Okay, all right,
Okay.
all right,
So I have to get 2 more points.
2 more points and you win. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Nadine. Well, anyways, there you go. Well, listen, we have got Eric. He's coming up next right here on the Six Screens Tele Network. If you haven't listened to Eric's program, he's an ex-witness. Comes in from, he comes in from, hold on one second. Let me just mute some people here. Well, we've got Eric. He comes in from Nashville, Tennessee. He's a former Jehovah's Witness, and he comes on. He's coming on next, so don't go anywhere. We're looking so forward to Eric coming on. Well, friends, thank you for coming in tonight. We really appreciate your presence. All those that have commented, all those writing on Facebook. Boy, a lot of people came through here tonight. So Eric's next. Stay with him and join him. You can call into the program. I'll put the telephone number up, or you can come on via StreamYard and appear in video if you like. So Eric's up next. Thank you for coming in. Keep standing tall. Don't you guys ever give in, give up or out. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. Good night now. We're going to Eric. Stay with us.